Hi there, Catherine Bachman, astrologer, and welcome again to my website and YouTube. I am so excited about energies that are coming up this month, and I guess the good news is that if you're watching this, you're still alive and breathing, and August was such an intense month. So we still have that intensity going on for the rest of this year, but this video I'm going to be covering the month of September, and again with the focus on how can we work with the energies that are in the cosmos, how can we work with the energies that are presenting in this very powerful time of collective, individual, and earth kinds of healing and transformation, because that's truly what is going on. So let's start out with September 1st. We have two planets, the planet Pluto, that is kind of pushing the energies of breakdown and transformation. Pluto represents death, rebirth, and transformation. Generally with this planet, we don't, as humanity, as individuals, we don't have a lot of choice. If we do not look within and look at the whatever is out of balance, we'll be forced to do that and make changes. And that is not always necessarily a gentle process, but so Pluto is just backing. He's retrograde. He went retrograde early May. And when he was in the sign of Aquarius, which is about this, new energy that is coming in for the next 20 years. This is the year of kind of the last gasp of the old orders and anything Capricornian. Capricorn represents structures, governments, corporations, top-down leadership, and the patriarchy as well. Aquarian energies are kind of the opposite. Pluto moving through Aquarius this next 20 years is going to represent the power, money, control, going back to the people. And so this is a people's revolution, people's movement. It's the people's time. And this is the great awakening that has been heralded of, the end of the world, the end of, the apocalypse. But it's not the end of the world. There is no astrologer that I'm aware of out there that would speak to this time period as being the end of the world. It is the promise of the end of an age, and it's a 25,000 year age. So this is the year where he has spent from January until September 1st traveling through Aquarius. And as he retrogrades, September 1st is the day that he moves back into Capricorn, the 29th degree, 29th minute, and he's going to only be there, lucky for us in the US, until shortly after the election. So his mission, his purpose is to expose abuses of power, expose those deep, dark, hidden secrets, and abuses of power, money, and sexuality. And so this is going to be a very intense few months of him doing that job. And it's interesting that it coincides with the US election, where it's the decision of the people is, do we want still to be a democracy? Do we want equal rights? Do we want empowerment of the people, the power coming back to the people? Or do we want to continue and in a frightening way for many of us as a fascist state, as the oligarchs have decided they want all the power and the money and all of that jazz. The people are really struggling at this time just to be able to keep a roof over their head and have enough money to feed their families. So this is a very, very intense time. Pluto will then, as he moves forward on around October 10th, he'll complete his 5-month retrograde since May 1st or 2nd, and he will move forward, and or October 10th, and then still at the last degree, last few minutes of Capricorn. But that energy is then even more potent as he begins to slow down, to stop from Earth's perspective, and then slowly begin to move forward. So expect that October time period to also be pretty powerful, and more exposures, more particularly, and consequences coming in for those who have abused their power, money, and sexuality. Shortly after our election, around November 19th, Pluto moves back into Aquarius for the next 20 years. And that is truly heralding the beginning, the birthing of the Aquarian age. It may take us several hundred years to fully balance everything out, because Aquarian energy is power back to the people and the upliftment of everyone. It heralds a 25,000 year period of peace, and our connection with our galaxy, our cosmos, our ET neighbors that we've all suspected have been around for a long time. So we're moving into Aquarian energy is also very highly technical. It's science, it's medicine, it's energy medicine. It's relates to fast-paced breakthroughs. I have YouTube listed on my website that you can check out to learn more about the Aquarian age. But I just suffice it to say that as we move through November, by the 19th, Pluto moves back into the Aquarian age. Expect that Pluto will then be very much exposing secrets, but also showing what's broken, showing what's rotten, and it will allow the next administration to begin to make changes and toward righting the ship, toward bringing more balance, toward bringing balance to the people. And the election, I would also predict very much will be won by women, minorities, and the youth, LGBTQ, anyone and everyone that has had their rights threatened or repealed or reversed through this period of time. So very intense period to be on the planet. You are part of the healing and the transformation. And so my question for you is, we are at September 1st with Pluto going retrograde. And then the next planet that's making a change is the planet Uranus, who rules Aquarian energy. He's going retrograde on September 1st as well. So this is a time of really the best way to begin to survive this time is to really look inside, to rest, to keep your own counsel, to not watch the mainstream media, to research and find true sources or good sources of honest information about what's going on. And I think the biggest thing is to personally, individually, pulling back, taking walks in nature, grounding ourselves in Mother Earth, feet, in the sand, feet on the grass, and doing meditation and breath work to totally calm the nervous system. And literally, I've been doing a lot of the Joe Dispenza meditations and breath work. Just went to a retreat in Denver at the end of July, and learned a whole bunch more. It was a week-long retreat. Ways of calming the nervous system and opening the heart and connecting the brain and letting go of the old fears and tapes, because fear is a major problem at this time for most people. Just, come back into self and calm the nervous system and visualize. We can all visualize. a world at peace and know that it's coming. So as we're able to do that, that will help individually help us to make it through this time with much less stress and not to worry ourselves sick, which a lot of people are really stressed at this time. So what happens when the planet Uranus goes retrograde? And he's in the sign of Taurus, and Taurus is an earth sign, grounded earth sign. I'm a Taurus, so I can tell you he certainly has rattled my cage for quite a few years now. And so, you know, Uranus wants, you know, progress, wants fast-paced change, wants, you know, it's evolutionary change. And is the planet of truth. And Taurus, he and Taurus tend to, Taurus energies are about truth and integrity and compassion and forgiveness, very heart-centered sign. Taurus energy also rules finances and financial stability, or whatever we consider stability and security. So, you know, with his unpredictability, and there is no astrologer on the planet that can predict what Uranus is going to bring to us. If we do, we're going to be wrong, you know, so we can do a range of possibilities, but, you know, Uranus, particularly in Taurus earth sign, and which actually is ruled by Earth and ruled by the planet Venus, essentially can trigger earthquakes, earth changes, earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, but also can affect the stock market, the financial systems, people's sense of security. So this can be a month coming up, starting early September, and actually even anytime this week up through, you know, the month of September can be a time of earth changes and or changes that will rock our sense of security. And again, it's like, so the more that you can go within and to know that you are safe, to gather with family and friends, you know, to have each other's backs. It is really a period, along with some of the other energies out there like Chiron, the wounded healer. This is a huge time of new beginnings, of families, whether it's family of origin or a family of choice, coming together, healing old wounds, forgiveness, compassion. These are qualities that will serve all of us. And, you know, as time goes on and we meet our cosmic brothers and sisters from other star systems, this is going to be a period where we are really going to, humans, Earth, you know, Earthlings, are going to learn that we are all a spark of the divine creator. We are all children of the cosmos. And when we continue to hold these very painful, low vibration, third dimension kinds of energies of hatred and violence and you know, fear of others, which has been stoked very powerfully by political parties around the planet. These energies actually vibrate out into the cosmos and are hurting others. They're hurting our cosmic family. So they very much are around us to help us make this transition. And then, you know, I mean, just common sense, if we are all part of the same creator, how can we hate someone because they're different in any way? How can we hate? So it's really a time of ending of all of those old negative, fear-based behaviors and thoughts and feelings and values. This is a time of restructuring based on who are we now? You know, who are we in America as a country? What are our values? All the way down to the microcosm of me. Who am I now? And the more that we can contemplate those questions And what have I not stepped into? Where have I not stepped into the power in my life? Where have I diminished or, hidden my own light to stay small, to stay safe? So these are questions that will be coming up, particularly in the first 3 weeks of September, which is Virgo energy. Virgo is about healing. Virgo is about going inside and kind of not being self-critical, because that's one of the negative sides of Virgo energy, is that we can be very critical of ourselves and others, our own worst enemy. It's time to go inside and heal all of that fear, heal all of that, just get in touch with our inner little boy and girl and say, what do you need? It's like, as the adult you, I see you and I'm there for you and I love you. And what do you need? Because those are the energies that are up for healing. And as we heal our heart, as we heal our mind and stop the old tapes, stop the old, the unconscious patterns for most part, for the most part, these are all unconscious patterns. As we are able, to slow down enough to really look at, what do I need? And maybe what we need more than anything is a rest. I think the last 7 years have created a lot of trauma in particularly our population, but also globally. So that because there's been no sense of security, it's been daily crisis. So it's time to take a deep breath, to slow down, to pull back, tell your family and friends you love them. You'll come out when you're ready. You'll come back out to play. But it truly is time to take time, go inside, and see what do I need? What does this person, what does my inner little girl or inner little boy need? And provide that over the next few weeks. I mean, we all do have to go out to this grocery store and our appointments, and many of us still work, and you have to go, and you have coworkers and bosses and all of that. But again, the more that you can put on your observer hat and not react to whatever is going on in your day-to-day environment, but just kind of observe and observe yourself. How am I reacting in this moment to the situation? We all can give ourselves permission to go, something about what just happened here when we're in relationship with other people and they say something or do something, something that just happened here doesn't feel quite right to me, and I'm just gonna take some time, pull back a little bit and think about this, and I'm gonna get back to you. You don't have to react from a defensive posture. You don't have to react as though your life is in danger, fight or flight. We don't have to fight. We don't have to be angry. We can pull back and say, look at what is our part of that, and thank them for being our teacher. Thank ourselves for doing something different and taking care of ourselves. So you will notice in a lot of my work, as I'm looking at these astrological energies, these are just the roadmap, for all of us, for individually, collectively, all the way out to the cosmos. So the roadmap is, it's really time to pull back this month and, do what you need to do for your own healing, do what makes you happy. Think of happy things you want to create in the future, because that's coming. And then, really generally just take care of yourself. So with Uranus retrograding, and there's potentially some crises coming in, if there's something that you can do and be of service, do it. Be there for other people. So that's another very Virgo type of quality. sitting here looking at the US chart as well. And it looks like, that starting around the 7th, up to the 7th, things are a little bit rocky. But starting around the 7th through about the 14th, so a solid week of things mostly going well. We can be optimistic, we can be happy, and the government is going to be, kind of working, doing its own thing, and things going fairly well. There is going to be concerns around finances this month because of the volatility of the stock market and or pricing, but around September 15th, there can be a collective shock that comes in related to, a work environment. It could be cyber attack. It can be concerns around, particularly for women, for financial security. And this is right before the eclipse. And so we have a new moon in Virgo at 11 degrees. That's going to come in on September 2nd. So I kind of just passed over that. New moon in Virgo is on Labor Day. And so basically, new moons are new beginnings. It's the opportunity to move into a new phase of healing for individuals, for the country, for the planet as well. This will be helpful. This is also a time where kind of the energies, North Node trines the U.S. North Node in the 8th house. There could be some remedies coming out by the Biden administration to help the people, and particularly looking at the real estate market. This could be close to the time of the Fed lowering the interest rates, and now there's more interest in looking at purchasing a home. So there can be some good news there. And can bring in, so that 7th, like I said, through the 11th, 14th, can bring in new opportunities and some healing. But as we come down to the 15th, we're beginning the 15th through the 17th. We're moving into energies that are very close to this full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. So the sun is in Virgo, and eclipses are powerful and potent and yet subtle at the same time. But they signify endings of 19-year cycles and the launching of the new 19-year cycles. So this is an energy of shocks, shocking communication, changes in work environment, or literally physically there can be shocking kinds of energies coming in. This is energies that are very much about healing, transformation, what's important, helping all of us to get clear about who are we now and what's important to us. And, it's like one of the greatest challenges we have with Neptune and Pisces and Saturn and Pisces is that it's really hard to know what the truth is anymore. And so intuitively, it's really, really important to trust your own gut, but also to do the research, to get your facts where you can. And I would say, knowing that all of the media, the television stations, the radio and newspapers, etc., are owned by the oligarchs, and the oligarchs don't want the democracy anymore. It's going to be important to find more individual or local. I think YouTube is fabulous for being able to offer independent views or independent investigative journalists, independent attorneys, and anyone that really sees and wants the highest, values, the highest truth, justice, fairness, and is still, supporting democracy. It's really, really important to seek out those sources of information to, just to pull back from the noise, anything that is really, really fear-based, pull back, and not invest, not listen and not invest in those kinds of news networks or news reports. The full moon lunar eclipse, as I mentioned earlier, is the closure and completion of 19-year cycles and the launching of new 19-year cycles. So you can think back to what was going on in your life 19 years ago and have a sense of what's coming to a closure. And it doesn't necessarily mean an end. It just means an end to a 19-year cycle in how you're doing those relationships. This could be careers, it could be marriages, it could be friendships, it could be, where you've lived for a long period of time. It really can affect any area of our lives. But we are asked at this time to really take an honest look at what's going on in our lives and who we are, and decide what's important to us now. Things can just be complete after 19 years. Friendships, it's like you can love someone, but that friend is going off in a different direction, and bless them on their way. We can do this without it having to be high drama and a very painful situation. And it doesn't mean we don't have to be sad about it. We can still care and excuse me, and we'll miss whatever that relationship was, but at the same time it's time for some new beginnings, and as one door closes, another one will open. We are still in Mercury retrograde. Mercury doesn't go direct. The communication planet has been retrograde since early part of August, and he goes direct, forward motion on August 28th. But we've all experienced over the last 2.5 weeks things that we missed or misunderstood, or I've found checkbook errors and I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea I had done. So it's communication difficulties, or computer traffic frustration, and basically I've been working on learning new technology, which has not necessarily been easy, but I've done it. I've kept my mind and my energy up to that. It's okay that I don't, I get it in the right pace at the right time. So a lot of technology around doing new astrology program, as well as my recordings with YouTube and how to manage all that. Okay, so this partial lunar eclipse set for September 17th. You generally feel the eclipses, 2 to 6 months after they happen. And they all come in, there's, a set in the spring and a set in the fall. And so the first eclipse is September 17th, and it's going to bring to a head kind of who are we now, looking from a perspective in Virgo energy of, the really fine-tooth comb as to what's going on. And then the moon is in Pisces. Neptune is in Pisces, Saturn's in Pisces. So this is an energy of, potentially grieving the past, grieving the old. But the highest vibration of Pisces energy is to hold a higher vision. And so it's the Christ consciousness, it's agape love. And we just had our first female presidential candidate be nominated. And so this is a time of almost exhilaration, which, a lot of the astrology for this past week with the Democratic Convention was like, fear and worry and what kind of traumatic thing is going to happen. And we really did not experience that. What we experienced was a renewal of faith and hope, and people being almost euphoric, excited, passionate, and happy. And I think these are feelings we haven't felt collectively for a long time, that, 7, 8, 9 years. This is a time of embracing the change. This eclipse says it's time to ground ourselves in change as much as possible and embrace it. And then do what is our part, what is your part, my part individually? What can each of us do to move us toward the new 19-year cycle? The second eclipse that's coming up, this can also be a time of great expectations around, relationships, love and money, new ideas, new philosophies that are coming in. But there's still challenges in the old guard, and how things have gone, in the past almost 18 months. With the North and South Node, and the North Node in Aries, which is the sign of new beginnings, aggressive new beginnings, and the South Node in Libra. The North Node is karmically what we are here to do as a collective. The South Node is what we have had in the past, and what we thought was balance, what we thought was how relationships were going to be. So everything is up for scrutiny. Everything is up for us to reevaluate, to reconsider, to, and just, be gentle as we move into a time of tremendous change. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Sometimes it feels unstable and discombobulating and, frustrating, and, and that can create a little bit of anxiety. So, anytime you find yourself or feel yourself moving into those energies, it's like, take time, step back, go sit in, go stand in the closet if you have to, or go to a quiet place and just take some deep breaths and know all is well. And we will move into these changes with as much grace and ease as we can, and really see humanity waking up and moving with much love and grace into this new energy and this new time period. And just mention the matching solar annular eclipse that's going to be on October 2nd. And again, there's a lot of really, really grounding, positive, good energy with this particular eclipse. It's where the sun and the moon are both in Libra, so it's the next, period of time, early October, where we'll be looking at moving into more balance and more fairness. And what does that mean? Tremendous amount of healing through the justice system, healing through, through our own education and spiritual concepts, and also from what is right, what is fair, justice, what would be a just world to live in, because that's what we're going to create. And so, security and nurturance, and there are things that need to be calmed down and attended to because people are really at the brink of failure. So it's financially, when you can't afford a home, a rental property, and you can't afford food, you're having the masses, the majority of the poor, as well as many of the middle class, are really having to make difficult choices. So that's the next eclipse. And then shortly after that, I would just mention that that's when Pluto, around the 10th of October, Pluto will move direct, move forward. So the energies will be even more intense for the month of October, And that's right prior to our election. But with him moving forward, the truth is going to come out. So what we're going to see is a lot of spin, a lot of lies, a lot of manipulation, distortion of the truth, that between September and this mid-October time is going to be thrown at the wall, and just constant in the airways, constant over the internet and social media. So as much as you can, just if it doesn't feel right to you, if it's fear, if it's hatred, if it's division, don't tap into it. Before we get to the end, a couple days later on the 24th, we've got in the U.S. chart, Uranus sextiles the moon. And so that's positive new directions, positive news, as well as an opportunity for support. We may hear news of support for families and children, or food programs for children, anything along those lines. Would be represented by the 24th, but the fall equinox comes in on September 22nd. And so again, we're just going to continue this energy of finding enough food, finding enough sense of a security for people. And at the same time, you know, Saturn is going to be working. Saturn and just, you know, Neptune, the North Node, are going to be working toward supporting the people for this new beginning. And yeah, and so, you know, it's like that's going to bring joy. The more that we start to implement some of the fairness, the truth, the, you know, support for the masses, for the people, for women and children, there's going to be a sense of, yeah, we're finally starting to turn this around, and people can start to feel a little bit more hopeful. So that's my general overview for the month of September. Please check out my website. I am available for consultations starting about mid-September. We've had a few Mercury retrograde delays in being able to launch the YouTubes and the website. Please check it out and let me know what are the areas of interest that you have and are concerned about, areas of concern. And I can certainly do some short, you know, little videos, YouTube videos to cover some of that, as well as if there's interest and a desire to have a consultation. And I do video those, and we'll be starting out a little slow, but I'm still in my recovery process as well, but I'm doing well, and it brings me great joy to be finally back to doing my work, and particularly in this critical time. So please like, subscribe, email me if you have questions, and we'll see you next time. And just remember, it's gonna be fine. We are in this evolutionary process of new beginnings. So as the old order is falling away, bless it and let it go. And just know that we will all get through this together, because humanity is awakening. Thank you.